Day?
My favorite Alex on International Alex Day, Alex Haley. Shout out to Roots. Good stuff. Could argue that's a horror movie. We're talking about Sinners. Good stuff. What about you? I didn't pit Hamilton.
Family friend Alex Carmidel.
Who?
Alex Carmidel, Chris's best man.
All right, give me a famous Alex. Not an Alex you know. I know Alex's also. I don't like them, but I know them.
Trying to think.
Hamilton, Grant Bell.
No, not
the
Grant
great.
Bell's important.
They're all important. Trebek, Caruso. That one might be.
Ovechkin.
Yeah, Ovi. Yeah. Who you got?
I'm looking on the list of. Oh, I have one.
Okay.
Alexander Skarsgård.
Who's that?
Hottie.
Okay.
My fellow Swede.
Oh, turn up.
Yeah.
What was the song today?
The song was Anxiety by Doechii. I kid you not. That was the shuffle of the song. I cannot escape the song. The song is everywhere. Everywhere.
You've
all
seen
at
the
once.
music video, right?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
It was great. I love the song. I don't want the song to ever be ruined for me.
What do you mean?
Like when it gets overplayed so many times.
Who else is playing it?
Everywhere.
Oh, turn up.
It's all over the place.
I don't ever hear it. It had that moment where it was a social media trend, and I heard it
Still is.
a couple of times via that. But outside of that, no, don't come across any of my playlists, shuffles, none of that.
I had anxiety watching the Grizzlies lose by 51.
It was something I was
Actually,
going to
wouldn't
tell
use the
you.
word anxiety.
Oh, I didn't tell you I almost set my house on fire. Fire department came.
Oh, I can't wait to find out about that. What's up, everybody? It is Monday, April 21st. It is going to be a good day. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. CJ Hurt behind the glass. Coming up on today's show, the Grizzlies on the wrong side of history. In Game 1 of the Western Conference playoffs, we will get into their loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, how they got there after their win over the Mavericks on Friday here at FedEx Forum. We will have a whole Grizzlies weekend recap for you. Gary Parrish will join us about 40 minutes into the show. We will also hit the other NBA playoff series. CJ and I both saw Sinners, which is all I actually want to talk about today. We'll do a little Hot Mess Express. We'll get through a busy Monday. It's Monday. You know what we say? Can't be worse. Can't be worse. Don't say it. Can't be worse.
Could be homeless.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals takes it straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
There's nothing like playoff basketball.
Boy, nothing like playoff basketball in Memphis.
The atmosphere of a Grizzlies playoff game is super exciting.
Oh my God, it's absolutely electric. I love seeing the crowd out.
Everybody's just screaming their heads off. You feel like you're in a movie.
People are down here. Everyone's got on their Grizz gear.
The city's excited. Everybody's excited to watch. There's really nothing like it, and I really can't wait.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Tony was the defensive guy, but Zebo was the offensive guy. So you could speak to this. It's way worse when you're getting doubled,
Yeah,
right?
you got triple. I had went through that for it. When I was in Portland.
You had me on the team. You got triple. You hear me, Rose? You can't talk about those. You got to talk about triple. You got triple teams.
This man was scoring on 3 dudes.
Swing, T.A.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I see people who look like me and were born probably in the same decade as me, watching all of these young people jump into the transfer portal and saying, it's ridiculous. You got to stop thinking about this like it's a normal college experience. It is not. You know what the priority is? Maximize your earning potential for every year of eligibility you have left. That's what this is about now. These are jobs.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Gotta own the day like it's all mine. Just got paid in his own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out. Let's have a little fun now. I wanna let it all out. That's what it's all about. Cause I deserve this feeling of having my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Happy Monday, everybody. I hope everyone had a good weekend, a great weekend, a lovely Easter weekend, a weekend that wasn't dictated by a 51-point loss by the Memphis Grizzlies to the Oklahoma City Thunder in the opening game of the Western Conference playoffs. I left my house yesterday, CJ, to come history, and it wasn't by 58. It was by 51. I do want to go in chronological order of the weekend, which feels weird because the vibes are this morning coming out of yesterday's game, but the vibes started in a pretty healthy place on Friday, and we don't get to Sunday without Friday, and it is worth, at least for a brief smidgen of this 2-hour show on this here Monday, to say how awesome Friday was here in Memphis. It feels kind of dirty to go back and talk about the fun day, to come in for the warm-up show. It was a good time. Do you remember it? Can you still feel the excitement that was to be in FedEx Forum? Because you were there. You were there Friday. The towels were there.
No, I don't feel that excitement. But
you didn't feel it?
No.
You didn't.
No.
You can't hold on to the little grasp of
Nope.
of whoop that trick that
Nope.
rang from the. I sat there and I said, God, this is why I love to be in Memphis, Tennessee. This is what playoff basketball is all about. And they're beating down the Thunder, and the big three are all
Beating
performing.
down the who?
I mean, I'm sorry. Whoa, wishful thinking.
Okay.
The Dallas Mavericks. Here's the Mavericks on the chart, and here's the Thunder.
Well, keep extending
on
your
the
arm
chart.
out. Give us a 2-screen. Keep extending your arm, Jacob.
Give me some Zach Edey arms to throw in there.
This is where the Thunder is over here.
Right,
where
right.
Jessica's arm is over. That's
Thank
the
you.
Mavericks, right? Like that's the difference in the talent level and the skill level and the intensity of the two teams. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
But like if I close my, I can still.
You can-
like that jaw stick back dunk. That was so awesome. It was on all the shows. Everyone was smiling.
Nothing like beating up
Everybody
on
was
bad
happy.
teams.
Nico Harrison was side eyeing. He's like, even as Anthony Davis goes off for 40. But
Nothing like it. Nothing like it.
Nothing like it.
Nothing
like it. I will say it was the kind of win on Friday that made you maybe a little delusional, just like a smidgen of delusion. And I fell into it a bit. It's not like I had exceeding expectations against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I want to be clear. I left the house saying, I hope we just don't lose by 20. I am conscious of the fact that the Grizzlies lost by an average of 18 in their 4 games against the Oklahoma City Thunder this season. But you start to think, well, if Josh, Aaron, and Dez are going to play at that level, and if Zach Edey is going to make these gains, and here he is in his first elimination game, maybe, and John Conchar and Marvin Bagley are the solutions of the shortened rotation, but by God, do they play hard, and they're putting the effort in, and I will not slander Marvin Bagley at all today, because if there is any positive to take from the entirety of the weekend, it would be the play of Marvin Bagley. But I thought, maybe they can compete. Maybe they can at least show a competitive effort against the Thunder. As an 8 seed going up against a 1 seed, obviously not expected. I think it was Tim Legler on ESPN. I walked in my house on Friday night following the game and was watching SportsCenter, and Tim Legler was like, this Grizzlies team isn't your average 8 seed. And I was like, they're not? Okay, interesting take, but I'm going to go down that path with you. But I did say to somebody here on Friday, I just casually joked, you know, if only the Grizzlies could exclusively play below 500 teams, they would be absolute world beaters. They would be one of the best teams that we ever did see, because when they play below 500 teams, when they play teams that they are supposed to beat, for the most part, they have succeeded in that effort. But when they play teams like the one that they played on Easter Sunday, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are definitively awesome, a Thunder team that won the Western Conference by 16 games, a Thunder team with a week off, a Thunder team that prepped for their game against the Grizzlies by having a birthday party for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's son, where they all dressed up like cowboys and looked like they were having a good old wholesome time. And then the Thunder proceeded to deliver the 5th biggest blowout in NBA playoff history, and the Grizzlies are on the wrong side of it. It was the worst point differential in a Game 1 in NBA playoff history at 51 points. Largest win for the Thunder in playoff history. Largest loss for the Grizzlies in playoff history. I think it was around the midway point of the second quarter when I turned to Darnell, one of our wonderful leaders of the social media team, and I said, can you look up the worst loss in NBA playoff history? And that's when we went back in time and saw that it was a 58-point loss by the New Orleans Hornets, a team that does not even exist anymore, to the Denver Nuggets back in 2009 in a first-round game. And then you're on kind of watch alert of, are the Grizzlies going to have the worst playoff loss in the history of the NBA? And the answer is no. It's just the 5th worst. It's just the 5th worst Game 1 ever. Absolutely the worst Game 1 I've ever watched. And it just feels awful. Like, there is nothing fun. There is no hope. I mean, I guess we can get into that. It's only one game. Like, that's the thing. You can look at this through 2 lenses. You can go full doom and gloom, and everything is horrible, and the sky is absolutely falling because you just lost by 51 points. I remember when Ja had that nice little finish over Isaiah Hartenstein. Those were few and far between from this team. Oh, and there's the turnover. That feels perfect because the Grizzlies had 24 of them as we're watching the highlights. I think they had 4 turnovers in the first 6 minutes, and one of them went off Zach Edey's head, and one of them went straight through Zach Edey's hands. And I was like, oh, not only are we going to be on blowout alert, because that was before we got to the, like, could this be the worst? It was simply a matter of, oh, this Thunder defense is as advertised and as expected, and there is not a single weak link in the starting 5 for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and then there's not one for about the next 6 players coming off the bench for the Oklahoma City Thunder either, as they go 11 deep early in this game. And I think nothing says it more than John Morant going from Lou Dort and surviving surviving in quotes, the first round of the Dortcher Chamber. And I cannot believe Lou Dort was not one of the top 3 finalists for Defensive Player of the Year. We have to figure out something with the positions, and he loses votes because he's not a big, but my God, he is absolutely incredible. But Lou Dort goes to the bench, and in comes Alex Caruso and Cason Wallace. And it's like, who does Ja Morant get to go up against now? Oh, it's Cason Wallace, and it's still an absolute miserable experience for this team. But I started to wonder, how many turnovers are the Grizzlies going to ultimately have? And they have 24, and the Thunder had 24 points off of those turnovers. And glass half full, even if the Grizzlies had 0 turnovers and the Thunder didn't have a single point off of those turnovers, they still would have lost by 25.
Glass full on empty, that shit was embarrassing. They played with no heart whatsoever. Like, it's one thing for us to sit here and acknowledge the fact that the Thunder are the better team in this series, right? Like, that's understandable. It's something else for them to go out there and get beat by 50. Lose by 20. My fault, 51. Lose by 20. It's like, okay, but Thunder are really, really good. Lose by 15. Okay, Thunder are really, really good. Lose by 50? This team is flawed. The roster is flawed. You're leaning way too heavily on some players who on good teams don't see the court. You're expecting a rookie to go out there and play way beyond his years, right? You're expecting Zach Edey to go out there and play like a grizzled vet, not like a first-time player in the NBA playoffs. That's flawed. I understand that. I understand losing. But to lose by 50, you have no hearts. You have no mental fortitude. You're a team of effing front runners at this point. You want to talk about that game against the Mavericks? Yeah, that's what they do.
Exactly.
That's exactly what they've been the entirety of their careers. That the three that matter, that's what they've been. Hey, let's go out there and look cool against some of these lesser teams. We got to play a good team. We fold a little bit. And it was fine. It was fine because they were ahead of schedule. It was fine when they first got to the playoffs. It was fine that second year when they got the first playoff series win with these three around, right? It was fine then because, hey, we're ahead of schedule. We're ahead of schedule. Well, now the schedule has changed. Now it is that next year, hey, keep advancing. Keep advancing. And they fold against the Lakers. And I hadn't forgotten how bad they folded against the Lakers, where it got to the end of the season and dudes had been popping much shit, ran from the media and was like, no, we don't feel like talking. Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks, right? I hadn't forgotten. Didn't one of them just not show up to the media day, the last exit interviews?
I believe it was Dylan. And
okay.
Dylan was
all
gone.
right. Yeah. Okay. This is what they've been. And they went out there and showed what they are. You would hope that they grow out of that at some point. And they haven't. They just haven't. I understand losing. I don't understand losing by 51. That's embarrassing. There's somebody on that team has to have some sort of heart. The Bucks are getting their brains beat in. And Giannis says, F it. I'm not passing. I'm not doing none of these little fancy ass moves. I'm going to put my head down and I'm just going to hurl my body at the basket. And I'm going to see how many buckets I can get to try and keep us in a game that we have no chance of winning. And there was nobody on this Grizzlies team who wanted to do that. You got Jaren shying away from the ball, fearful of the basketball. You got Zach Edey getting balls bounced off his face, fearful of the moment. What did Dez do?
Nothing.
Exactly. Somebody has to have some sort of fight out here.
Jaren and Dez combined for more turnovers than they did baskets. And there's your...
Somebody's got to fight. Somebody's got to have some sort of strength. And they quit on that game.
Yes, they did. And that's the most embarrassing part of the entire thing, is not that you lost. It is how you lost and how quickly it became apparent that the Thunder were meeting the moment and had a point to prove. And you cannot convince me that there isn't some undercurrent with this Thunder team that will never forget that the Grizzlies beat them by 73 points in the regular season. And that goes back to your front-running nature, because who was on that Thunder team? Absolutely nobody. And so the Thunder look at this Grizzlies team and say, we're going to have a point to prove. One, everybody who has put this weird aura around the Thunder of, are they really that good? Yes. This Thunder team is incredible. This Thunder team, I'm not going to say it because they beat the Grizzlies by 51.
They're not 51 points better than anybody in the NBA.
Exactly. And that is the difference. You sit there and you say this Thunder team is better than the Memphis Grizzlies, period, dot blank. But they're not 51 points better. And the fact that you allowed the game to get to a runaway train situation is embarrassing, and it's unacceptable. And it's the same thing as allowing the Minnesota Timberwolves to score 52 points in a quarter against you here at FedEx Forum a few weeks ago. It's the same thing as allowing the Indiana Pacers to score 50 points in a quarter. Where is somebody standing up and saying, and I get it, it is not as simple as snapping your fingers and say, we're not going to let this happen. But you could try, and you can see it, and you can see a different level of intensity. And you talk about that series against the Lakers. When you go back now, the last 2 playoff losses, because the play-in doesn't count. Not only is the game against the Mavs and the jaw stick back and everything, that lives in play-in universe. Those stats don't count. Those plays don't count. I doubt when we do a postseason review that play even makes it. I've been like, that's a top 10 play. Well, who cares? It came in a play-in game. The last 2 playoff games for this team are a 51-point loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder yesterday. And before that, 2 years ago, the final loss to the Lakers by 40. And according to our friends over at Fast Break Breakfast, that is the worst 2-game point differential in playoff history, going back to 1970. No team has ever had consecutive 40-point losses before, even with a whole season between and the lost season of the Grizzlies' injuries of last year. I don't know how you let that happen again. I don't. And watching it, you're just left in this place of hopelessness. And I get it. Yes, it is one game, and we'll take a break and we'll come back and talk about the fact that it is one game. And if you come back and win game 2, it doesn't matter that you lost the first one by 51, but they didn't give you a whole lot of things to grasp onto where you can convince yourself that this team can rebound for a more effective performance against the Thunder in any other games this series. We'll take a break. We'll be back. More Grizzlies talk when we come back.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Double your chances to win all month long in March with 2 big promotions. On Fridays, embrace the madness and win a share of $150,000 in cash and free play. On Saturdays, starting March 8th, go for the gold and win your share of up to $10,000 in cash and free play in the 80K Fool's Gold giveaway. Enjoy live entertainment all month long and play for your chance to win big in March only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzlies stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second-chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Debo traded from San Francisco to the Commanders for a 5th round pick. There's no other sport where you would get a player of his ilk for a 5th round pick.
Over under total yards for Debo. If they set it at 1,000, you think he hits that over?
Total yards?
Total yards from scrimmage, total yards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Welcome back. Following the Grizzlies' 51-point loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, John Morant said, quote, "We'll never play that bad again." I should hope not.
Will you play with
hope not.
Will you play with that lack of urgency, that lack of heart, that lack of toughness, that lack of desire? Will you play like that again?
Was there a moment early that stood out to you?
So I'm on the grill, fresh off almost burning my house down Saturday. I'm on the grill on Sunday. And so I'm listening to the game for the first quarter and a half. And it's a regular basketball game. Somebody's up, somebody's down. That's going to happen. And then the announcer like, oh, the Thunder are on a run. They're on an 18-point run. It's like, ooh, somebody got to step in and stop this. On a 22-point run, somebody come in and stop this. 25-point. At that moment, when that run happened, you and Jacob are texting, going back and forth. My phone is buzzing. I got buddies in Middle Tennessee, Clarksville, Nashville, texting as that moment is happening. Like, yo, I got to step off this grill and see what the hell happened. And thanks to modern technology, I can rewind and watch that run. But it was that run right there. I'm watching that run. Them burnt the damn party wings on the grill. I'm like, how in the hell does nobody step in here and say, okay, we need to stop this? And it wasn't, correct me if I'm wrong. I watched a lot of basketball this weekend, but it seemed just up and down. It didn't seem like
points in transition. Stop. Points in like
it
the
didn't
Thunder
seem
just
like
got
refs
so
were,
many easy. No, it wasn't.
There was no like stoppage from the refs. Is what I mean. It
Oh,
wasn't.
no.
It was just in the flow of the game. At no point did a ball go out of bounds, or did somebody get a dead ball turnover, or did somebody commit a foul. It was just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Like you said, stop, bucket, stop, bucket, stop, bucket,
Yeah.
stop, bucket, stop, bucket. And it just seemed, I was like, holy hell.
And it happened so fast.
And it was
like there was
okay.
at one point where it was a 9-point game in the first quarter. Like Desmond Bain had hit a 3. And you're like, oh, maybe the Grizzlies are going to get something going. And then immediately it was one of the bench guys for the Thunder. I think it was Jalen Williams who hit a 3. And it just happens so fast. And so not only are the Grizzlies turning it over, not only are they shooting poorly, and their final, when you just look at the stats, like guess what? It's very hard to win a basketball game if as a team you are ultimately going to shoot, as the box score loads here, 34% from the field, 17% from 3, 83% from the free throw line. Get outscored in points off turnovers, 24-10. Get outscored on the fast break, 27-5. Get outscored in the paint, 60-48. Your bench gets outscored, 51-44. And a lot of that is garbage time down the stretch, or the perfect game of Marvin Bagley, who was 8 of 8 from the field and did have a 3/4 court shot that was so beautiful. At one point, too, there was like a Vince Williams to Marvin Bagley alley-oop finish, and you're like, wow, that was nice. And the Grizzlies are only down 49. So there was difficulty in having any joy in that situation. But there was a play early where Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was the shot. Look at my guy, Marvin Bagley. Hell yeah.
60 points in the third quarter is atrocious. What year is this? 1993? Get out of here.
Here's the thing. I watched the Warriors-Rockets game last night, and like that's a defensive slugfest to it. Like the final score, they both score under 100 points in the game. But with the Grizzlies-Thunder game, it's just a complete lack of execution or care factor to get yourself to. Bless Bennett Doyle's heart. He's like, I don't think they're going to get to 100 at one point. I was like, 100? I don't think they're going to get to 75. Like, I'm pretty confident that this team might be held below 75 points in a playoff game. And they do get to 80, so congratulations for that feat. But all that to say, there was a play where SGA blocks Zach Edey and ends up being a jump ball. And the effort from SGA in that situation, because like he's an MVP candidate and he might very well win an MVP award this year, and there's a lot of focus on his offensive abilities. But when he was first drafted, like he came into the league as a defensive guy, and it was just a reminder that the defensive identity of this team is so far and away different from what we have become accustomed to with this Grizzlies group. But it's not just lack of defense. It's the fact that their offense can be so, I'm not going to say easily impacted, because that doesn't feel like a true testament to just how good the Thunder's defense is, but they were all pulled out of what they do best. Like Ja can't get anything inside the paint because it's either Isaiah Hartenstein or Chet Holmgren, and they had Hartenstein on Edey, and Hartenstein's winning that matchup, and then Holmgren is able to kind of just roam down below, because the other thing is the Grizzlies don't have any three-point shooting. Their three-point shooting has evaporated. There's no consistency. And sure, sometimes you get a great game from Desmond Bane. He's giving you 30, but then he's giving you 9. And he's 1 of 6 from 3. And Jaron's 0 of 4 from 3 because he's getting the ball out on the perimeter. And he can't back down Alex Caruso. And so then he's getting baited into taking bad shots. But there's nobody. The Thunder go 17 of 48 from 3. It's not like they shot well from 3. It's 35%, but they make 17, and the Grizzlies make 6. And mathematically, it is easy to see how the onslaught comes from the Thunder when you don't have answers at any place yesterday. Like the Miami Heat lost by, 20 to the Cleveland Cavaliers last night in the end of it? But at least they fought, and at least you had a massive game from Tyler Hero. Like, you can lose your opening game as an 8 seed to the 1 seed, and people will not talk about it. They'll be like, well, that game went about as expected. But when you lose in the fashion that the Grizzlies did, it just feels like diabolically different.
Yeah, the Thunder are a good team. They are.
They're great.
They're sure. Let's whatever biggest superlative you can use for what this Thunder's team is. If you wanted to use it right now, fine, go ahead and use it. They're terrific. They're incredible. We hadn't seen anything like it. I'm not saying that, but if that's what you want to say, knock yourself out. I don't care what you have to say about the Thunder. Are they 51 points better than the Grizzlies? Right, like that's what I keep coming back to, because that's what I'm stuck on. Yeah, you're going to lose games. Yeah, you're going to lose the better teams. You brought it up. It was a bunch of blowouts in the first game of these here playoffs. Mm-hmm. There were a bunch of teams who got their asses handed to them in the first game of these here playoffs. None of them quit. You have to quit for that to be the score. You have to stop for it to be 131-80. You have to look around, and this is when I put the phone down and got back to the wings. I don't remember exactly when it was, but at a certain point, another missed shot, see Jaron on screen, shoulder slump, head down, bucket on the other end. It's like, oh, they've quit. And this Grizzlies team does that too much.
They weren't getting calls early, which turned into our favorite play of the season.
Just arms up. Arms up. That's why you keep getting beat on defense. Your arms go up and the other team is running.
Your arms are up. The crowd is working against you in that situation.
You're
because
a veteran. The crowd shouldn't matter.
No, that's what I'm saying. But they seemed not mesmerized is the wrong.
Shook.
Overwhelmed. Shook by the fact that everybody had a damn T-shirt on. Have you never seen matching T-shirts in this world? They shame you in OKC if you don't put that T-shirt on. They put you on the Jumbotron until you put the T-shirt on. And they had the noisemakers and everything was gearing up. Like they care. Just as this environment here at FedEx Forum on a Friday night is fun and home court advantage, and you're like, wow, this is one of the toughest places to play. Guess what? That's how it is everywhere in the playoffs. That's how this works. Watching the Nuggets-Clippers game was an afternoon game in Denver. That crowd was wild. And I was like, this Grizzlies team, the majority of them, sans Zach Edey and Scottie Pippen Jr., like, you've been in playoff games before. This isn't oh, wow, welcome, big eyes. This is how the playoff basketball works. Like, you're the 8 seed. You're not going to get the benefit of the doubt on calls. And it felt like that sucked them out so early. Like, oh, the frustration. And I'm like, okay, we've seen the frustration since game 1 of this season. And how that hasn't been something that has been improved upon is very frustrating.
Play. Let the refs do what the refs do. You have to play. Yeah. The second you become more concerned with anything other than the game, you're gonna lose. And then for you to allow that frustration, because you're right, the frustration from the officiating early absolutely got into their heads. And the second you let that happen, this Thunder team is fine beating the hell out of you. I don't know if you know that or not. They're not going to call off any dogs when they get up. If they want to beat you by 200. So what are you going to do about it? Play through it. And my point when talking about that run that the Thunder went on that nobody had the balls to stop is.
It was like 32-5.
Somebody step in there. Somebody step in there and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to run through something. I don't know who. I don't know when. I don't know if I'm going to have the ball in my hand or if I'm going to be trying to set a screen. I'm going to run through something and let them know I am here, and I am not going to stand for getting my brain beat in. Instead, it was a whole bunch of dudes like, well, what are you going to do? The refs are against us. Boo-hoo. Oh, what are you going to do? We're not making shots. What are you going to do? Boo-hoo. What are we supposed to do? Go into the paint? Go into contact? Just run through somebody and stiff arm them? God forbid we do that. No. Boo-hoo. Woe is me. Coach, get me out of this game. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to play. Put somebody else in. I have no heart. I have no nuts. Get me out. Send me home. Let's go back to Memphis. How soon can this series be over? Because I got stuff to do in the offseason that don't involve getting the hell beat out of me. All right, like that's how you lose by 51. That's how you do that. That it's not scheme. It's not Thunder doing something different or the Grizzlies struggling to take care of the ball. All of those things are true, but you only lose by 50 if you're soft and you quit. And they were soft and they quit, and that's embarrassing.
We had our double post show yesterday, and we had lots of callers call in, but one of our all-time favorite callers is Miss Betty. And Miss Betty had some advice for this team that I think everybody can grasp onto going into game 2. Pull your pants up. You got caught with your pants down around your ankles. You got to pull them up because there is another game. And as much as we sit here and say, well, the team says they'll never play this bad again, and Tomas Isolo says it's about as bad as it could go, and we got to turn the page to the next one, and we'll look at the film, and we'll move forward. And Jaron said he's going to watch the entire game back and figure out how he can be better. And there was ownership. There was ownership in the commentary. But I just found myself spiraling, just like this team spiraled against the Thunder, thinking back of, how we saw those three, and Ja, Jaron, and Dez, 2 years ago lose a playoff game by 40 points. And yet, here we are years later looking at a 51-point loss. I will have to see it with my eyes. I will need them to prove it. And they have every opportunity to do so, because at the end of the day, there is a facts of the matter. One game is one game. And just because you lost one game by 51 doesn't mean that it counts for 2 games, although CJ and I think maybe it should. I think if you lose a game by 50, it should maybe count by 2. And if you lose 2 games by 50, I think maybe the series should be canceled.
Yeah, well, it is. If you go out there and beat a team twice
by
50,
should be,
that's 4 wins. Get them out.
4 at
Get
that
them out,
point.
man. They have no heart. They don't deserve to be out here.
But they will have a chance on Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, to show that they are better than a team and that they have pride. That's the thing. Just some pride.
That's all I've wanted.
I want to see this team care, and I want to see this team try. Didn't we say the Growltale should be just try? And they failed that mission.
Compete.
In game 1. Try, just compete. You get to the playoffs, and now you have all the people barking back of, well, this is why I wanted them to lose the play-in game so that they would. And I will never get behind that. I will never get behind purposely losing a play-in game. And you weren't going to convince a team of professionals to purposely lose a play-in game. They could have lost it on their own. They didn't, because they do tend to beat under 500 teams and lesser competition and find ways to win those games in particular. But it did set up Sunday's embarrassment. Now you have to go show that you still have pride in this team, that you haven't 1-2-3 Cancun'd. I don't want it to be 1-2-3 Cancun. Think of it like 1-2-3. What's another city in Oklahoma City? If you lose that game, you should get sent to Tulsa. I like Tulsa. Yeah. Tulsa has character. What's a middle of nowhere city in Oklahoma City?
I don't know.
Or in Oklahoma.
Why would I know that?
Smallest town in Oklahoma. Broken Arrow. Send them to Broken Arrow. If they're a broken team and lose by... How much could the Grizzlies lose by in game 2 where you don't feel like this?
Probably 20.
Yeah.
All right, like that.
So we go back to how I left my house on Sunday. Just don't lose by 20.
You know you're the underdog in this series for good reason. Go out there and try. Since the 3 losses in a row, we've come on here and you've asked me, hey, what do you think about this? What do you want to do there? And I've always told you, hey, I just want them to go out there and try and compete. And for the most part, they have. They hadn't been great. They hadn't been good. But they've tried. Even in, you brought up the games, even in the 50-plus point quarter performances. That quarter was bad, but the entirety of the game wasn't atrocious. They tried in those games. Things aren't going to go their way. They're going to have moments of big letdowns. But damn it, tried. I don't feel like they tried in this game. And that's my frustration. That's my pain.
And we even saw in the game against the Mavs punched back coming out of half. And finally, the Grizzlies punched back. Like, they didn't allow the Mavs to get back into it. I think they cut it to 12 or 13.
Yeah, they cut it to 12. And it's easy to do when you've been up 20.
Easy to do when you're playing against a team that has zero guard play.
You're playing at home against a team that's not as good as you, and you've been up 20 for most of the game.
Yes.
True front runner status.
Yes.
Now you're playing on the road against a team better than you, and they put you down by 20. What do? The Mavericks had the courage to stand up and say, no, this isn't how we're going to go out. The Grizzlies didn't do that last night. And maybe they do it sometime in this series. And that's why I wanted them to play in the series. Never mind the pick. I feel like this is illuminating. We're learning about what these guys are as men right now. Mm-hmm. We're going to know what the culture of this team is going forward after this series. Are you going to go out like that? You're going out. I think you're going out. Sorry. I do.
Hot take.
Hot take.
Take.
Grizzlies going out.
Bold one.
How are you going out? Are you going out in 4? Going out in 5? Got 6, 7? Are you going out as the team that allowed for the largest point differential of all time? Jacob pointed this out. I think it was 121 by the Nuggets over the Hornets in 2009, I think. Is that how you're going to go out?
Is that 58, yeah.
Is that how you're going to get beat? Because if that's how you're going to get beat, I mean, hey, you're telling me about what you are as a person. Telling me about what you are as a hooper at this point. And I don't want basketball players like that around me. I don't know why anybody would have wanted around them. So if you're a free agent this summer, why would I want a Luke Kennard on my team? He's out there getting beat by 50. Why would I want Santi Aldama on my team? He's out there getting beat by 50. Why would I want those big three as my big three? They out here as the big three getting beat by 50. Why would I want that?
Hey,
let's go. Let's find out what they are.
Luke Kennard did make a 3 that kept it from being a 58-point loss.
Shout out to Luke Kennard, making big-time shots when called upon.
Even the Grizzlies scrubs lost to the Thunder scrubs. 19-17. That was the fourth quarter of that game. And so everyone wants to be like, well, at least they didn't allow him to win by 58. Well, still allowed him to win by 51. Could have gotten it into the 40s. Hey?
We talked. When was it? February when we had the dog conversation? And I said no to everybody. If there was a dog on this team, it wouldn't be that. It just wouldn't be. If there was a Jay Crowder on this team, it wouldn't be that.
Listen,
PJ Tucker, it
I
wouldn't
know we
be
do
that.
this every time, and I know this isn't
great.
I know this isn't fair, and we have to get to Gary Parrish, and it is a polarizing grenade to throw into the Grizzlies conversation at all parts of this season. But if Marcus Smart's on this team, I swear, I don't know if he's contributing. I don't know if he's able to play. You could play the injury card all you want, although I will counter with he did play 15 games for the Washington Wizards once he was traded there. There were 15 games that he played. But I remember the game against, I think it was the Utah Jazz last year, before everything went off the rails with the injury-riddled season. But they were down massively at home to the Jazz in the midst of, they hadn't won a game yet that season. And it was a horrible start to the year. And Marcus Smart screamed. I watched it with my own eyes.
And he was in
street
clothes,
bench. He was in street clothes.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing, but he lit into that group. And it changed the tone of that game. And that is the person or somebody like that where you have to have pride and veteran leadership to say, this isn't happening. And listen, it has to be your big three because you don't have a Marcus Smart, because you don't have a Jay Crowder, because you don't have a... Derrick Rose was never that, but he was brought in for similar reasons, right? Like, you don't have a Steven Adams. You don't have somebody who has been a part of winning culture where they've actually won things significantly at a playoff level. Because you don't have that, it has to come from Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Desmond Bane. End of story. And so far, we have not seen that.
And if they go out like this, then that means that if you're going to keep those three, you got to go out there and find that guy in free agency, right? So as we look towards free agency, it's about pitting players around them who can maximize the talent of those three. A guy to every now and then lighten to somebody is somebody this front office might need. And again, we're not saying that Marcus Smart, Jay Crowder, anybody like that is PJ Tucker. We're not saying anybody like that is an all-star or an all-NBA type player. We're not saying that. But those types of players matter. They do, because stuff like this happens. And it doesn't happen when they're around because they're dogs and they let everybody know. They start barking at you, hey, get your head out your ass. If we're going to go out, fine, but it can't be this.
All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, Gary Parrish will join us. He had an exciting weekend. He went and saw Kendrick Lamar and SZA, but I'm sure he also watched the Grizzlies' 51-point loss to the Thunder. We'll get into all that with GP when we come back.
by overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With special guests 3 doors down. And Mammoth WVH. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Creed returns, the Summer of '99 tour.
Bain drives.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jarrett with a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go. Let's go.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum Saturday, August 30th. With special guests Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown. Live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Double your chances to win all month long in March with 2 big promotions. On Fridays, embrace the madness and win a share of $150,000 in cash and free play. On Saturdays, starting March 8th, go for the gold and win your share of up to $10,000 in cash and free play in the 80K Fool's Gold giveaway. Enjoy live entertainment all month long and play for your chance to win big in March only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
The new issue of Slam, the cover dropped, and it is our friend Jaren Jackson Jr. on the cover.
And shout out to you, Lane.
Yeah.
You kept, well, I mean, we knew about it, but you kept this a secret the whole time. So shout out to you for
I wrote
putting
this story.
together.
We did the photo shoot a couple weeks ago here on a Sunday afternoon in the practice court. The Sneak Fest show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
We touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back. It's Monday. That means it's time to welcome in Gary Parrish, host of the Gary Parrish Show, weekday mornings at 10 a.m. on Grind City Media. He joins us now.
Get your one up.
Get your one up.
Yeah, in honor of Roman Reigns. He had a rough weekend.
Oh, should I put the one down? Who had a rougher weekend? Roman Reigns, Drake, or the Memphis Grizzlies?
I'm gonna go with the Grizzlies. I feel like Roman Reigns can bounce back. Drake not so much, but the Grizzlies thing was kind of embarrassing for 2 hours on national television in the middle of the day Jesus was resurrected. I think that's the way the story goes.
Yeah, I think when they were down 30 is when I sent out the tweet like, we've seen bigger comebacks on this day historically, but then they were down 50, and I was like, well, maybe not.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess we're past the point. Listen, we will, of course.
How is it possible it was more likely for a man to rise from the dead than it were for the Grizzlies to erase that deficit yesterday.
Yeah. I think it's supposed to testament to like the GOAT of Jesus, but also the sheerly disappointing effort from the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about one guy who really shocked the world and another team that didn't so much
really
at all.
Est the bed, you know?
It could have learned something from Jesus.
It's tough.
I think they taught that in Sunday school somewhere.
Maybe they can pull some verses to dive into before Tuesday's Game 2 effort. We'll get to all
If we keep talking like this, you're going to realize how little I know about the Bible.
Let's play a game.
Except I did learn yesterday about the Book of Ruth. Do you know about the Book of Ruth?
Well, my Nana was Ruth, so yeah, kind of.
Okay. My buddy Brent Stover.
Okay.
He is in Scripture, as they say.
Okay.
He's a godly man.
Okay.
He goes to church. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And so every once in a while,
just said that.
when I see him slipping up a little bit, I'll ask him. I'll say, you might need to get in your Scripture a little bit, right? And then I'll randomly quote a book of the Bible. So, but I have to Google them, is what I'm saying. And yesterday I Googled, like, what's some great books of the Bible? And it was like, there's Ruth. I was like, I don't think I've ever heard of Ruth. So I said, Stove, I think you might need to get back in your Scripture. Book of Ruth would be a good place to start. And he always gets a kick out of that. That's how we have fun together.
I think the Grizzlies could dive into the Book of Ruth because the AI overview, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I came up with the Book of Ruth off the top of my head, but it says the main point of the Book of Ruth is to illustrate God's providence and mercy, even in seemingly tragic circumstances, and to highlight the importance of loyalty, kindness, and I'm going to put emphasis on redemption.
Okay.
So perhaps that is the redemption arc that needs to be
on our side. There's got to be a
investigated.
redemption arc, and on the other side, we could ask Shea Gilgeous-Alexander for mercy.
I mean, it wasn't Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Gary. I don't know if you know this, but Marvin Bagley had more points than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander did yesterday. If you had told me that Marvin Bagley...
If you had told me, let me stop you there. If you told me that Marvin Bagley would even be in a position to have a game like this yesterday, I would have told you something has gone terribly wrong.
You know, that's how I was going to frame it originally, but then sometimes in the playoffs, you have these weird contributors, like an other steps up. And I'm old enough to remember the Xavier Tillman game. You know, like those things happen.
Whatever you're going to say, I'm going to counter it with he shouldn't even be on the court if things were going the way they should go.
Well, Brandon Clark is hurt.
I heard about that.
I don't know if you're familiar.
I heard that.
Jalen Wells,
also hurt.
Rookie of the Year finalist,
Sure.
which actually is an awesome story for Jalen Wells, even though the ESPN broadcast crew does not know what he looks like because they showed Zion
That's
pulling.
tough. That certainly plays into some stereotypes, doesn't it?
It wasn't great.
Wasn't great
Wasn't
for
a great look.
that director.
No.
Whoever was directing that probably got accused of some stuff.
Like, you should maybe know top 3 finalists for Rookie of the Year.
You would think so, but
alas.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, if you had told me Marvin Bagley, end the sentence, why are we talking about Marvin Bagley? Oh, it's because he was the only person who showed up for the Memphis Grizzlies in a game, I think, best 8 of 8 performance in playoff history.
If you want to say
Listen, we're just trying to make all sorts of history. We haven't even mentioned that Desmond Bane was a all-time worst, minus 51. I'd say, have you ever seen a minus 51 in the playoffs? But the answer would be no, you haven't.
If I have, I've blocked it out.
You haven't.
If I've ever watched somebody I care about be a minus 51, I've tried to block that out.
The worst before that was actually Klay Thompson against the Grizzlies. He was a minus 45.
I actually do have a memory of that.
So do I. And I remember it was the game where they play Whoop That Trick and Draymond's singing it on his way out and Klay's a miserable minus 45. But then they went on to win the championship.
Yeah, they do that. They did that.
So I ask you, will the Grizzlies now go on to win the championship?
Man, I'd be shocked. I'd kind of be surprised if they could win a game at this point. And like, just so you know, that's not me just popping off. That is like literally in the betting markets.
Oh yeah.
They are unlikely to win a game. Like if you're trying to bet Thunder in 4, that's the most likely outcome here in the betting markets. Obviously, they were a double-digit favorite in Game 1, even more of an underdog. I mean, double-digit underdog in Game 1, even more of an underdog in Game 2. They'll be favored inside FedEx Forum, it appears. Like, this is not good. It doesn't mean that I didn't want the Grizzlies to be in this position. I'm not going to use revisionist history. I still prefer this to losing to Dallas and missing the playoffs proper. I am not ignorant to the lottery pick, and I'm not even dismissive of that. And let me be clear. If you're somebody out there who thinks it would have been smart for the Grizzlies to tank that game and keep the pick and avoid this embarrassment to Oklahoma City, I don't even think you're stupid. I get it. I understand the argument. This is not one of those where I go, they don't know what they're talking about. I just happen to think that when you are dealing with a core of 3 all-star level players who are all healthy. All the stuff that matters when you're trying to go make this type of decision can't show up on a spreadsheet. Like some of it is what are you telling your star players who believe they can go do something big if just given the opportunity. You can't rip that away from them. Like for me, the conversation stops right there. You cannot rip that chance away from it. It doesn't matter how smart it might look, on a spreadsheet and keeping the pick and the value in that. And you couldn't do that to them. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want you to do that to them, even if they wouldn't have minded as much, because you need to learn something about your team. And we might be learning something. I mean, we might be learning something big. This is, the 5th straight year that Ja and Jaren and Dez have been in this franchise together. They haven't always been healthy together for the playoffs, but this is the 5th straight year that they have all been members of this franchise. And, they're 9-15 in playoff games now after yesterday. 1-3 in playoff series. Probably about to be 1-4. Like, I don't know. I don't have any great answers for you about what to do, but I just know at some point in every other market in the NBA, when you have a core that is well paid and not delivering results, people do start to wonder big things about them.
Yeah, and I think it's what struck me yesterday is, and I'm with you, I stood on the side of I want this team in the playoffs. And experience-wise, one, it's a great measuring stick, and I guess you can make the argument, well, I don't know how much you can measure when you're getting
No, you can measure this.
You
have your 3 stars all healthy and they got embarrassed. Bad.
And the last time that we saw
that's a measurement.
And the last time we saw all 3 of them in a playoff game together, they got embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, we are measuring things right now.
When we talk about playoff scars are not guaranteed to make you better. Sometimes they reinforce what you are.
Oh, yeah.
But it also teaches you something. Like they could turn around on Tuesday and come out and play the game of their lives. And we will come on our shows on Wednesday and say that is precisely what we wanted to see. But CJ and I were talking during the break. I mean, you can't even talk about adjustments for this team because my only adjustment is to give a crap.
Yeah.
Like, okay, adjustment 1.
I think what happened yesterday, and CJ's got it right. I mean, on some level, you get beat like that, you have quit.
He's excited.
On some level, when you get beat like that, you have quit. Except this is where I always circle back to human nature. You can believe in yourself when it's 0-0. Heading into it, you could talk yourself into anything.
They were, from all reports, it was a loose locker room. They were feeling good.
But then all of a sudden, you're in this place, and it's wild, and they're bombing you, and you aren't comfortable, and you look up and you're down 20, and that 20's gone to 30, and it's like, whoa, there ain't nothing we can do.
Yeah.
Like, they could stop scoring right now, and we can't catch them. And I just think at that point, 30 turns into 50 pretty easily, but that's not a good sign. You don't want 30 to turn into 50. You want 30 to turn into 20, and you feel like you had some fight in you. And so that's obviously disappointing, and that starts. You'll never get away from this. I know that the Grizzlies are shorthanded, and Brandon Clark's hurt, and Jalen Wells is hurt, and Marcus Smart was moved, and Jake LaRavia too, and Vince Williams has had a lost season, and Gigi as well. Like, that's a lot of stuff I just said. At the end of the day, your 3 best players are healthy and ready to go, and it was embarrassing.
It's also a 3rd straight year of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you have a lot of stuff this year. You had a lot of stuff last year with a lot of injuries, and you had a lot of stuff the year before with both everything that happened with Ja, Brandon Clark's Achilles tear, the flame out against the Lakers in the playoffs, and so now it's like 3 years of chaos.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
At some point, it is a bottom line business. And I don't have any great answers. Like, this is not a 2-part story for me where I say, you got to look at all this stuff and here's what you do. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I don't envy the people who have to make those decisions. But I do know that if you get swept out of this thing, which is the most likely scenario at this point, not my opinion, just in the betting markets, you get swept out of this thing, you're going to be through 5 years of these 3 stars together in the same franchise, and they will be 9-18 in playoff games in that span, and 1-4 in playoff series in that span, with a lot of headlines that haven't been great. I don't know what the solution is, but I know that you got to have a conversation about that and start to ask questions about exactly what is this thing going to be. Because, oh, by the way, that core, it's not getting cheaper. It's getting more expensive. At what point does somebody start to wonder, what are we paying hundreds of millions of dollars? You know, I'm exaggerating here, but you get the point. What are we getting for this money? And is this core that looked so promising once upon a time, is it actually, for a variety of reasons that other people can debate, but is it actually ever going to do what we thought, and a lot of people thought it was capable of doing just 3 years ago? That's the other thing here. Around the NBA, I know everybody likes to talk about Memphis versus everybody. It wasn't always like that. There was a time where everybody believed in this. There was a time where ESPN brought a whole crew down here and spent just like a random day. It
was Grizzlies Day.
It wasn't Memphis versus
Might
everybody.
feel like a mirage.
There was a point in time where the entire NBA community believed in what was happening here and on some level celebrated it and was waiting for it to take it to the next level. And now around the NBA, nobody believes in this anymore. Nobody. Like every time they're on TNT, that crew is joking about them more than the alternative. And that means there has been a dramatic change here. And I know fans can be fans and take everything personally and be like, they don't like us because we're whatever. But it just wasn't like this just a few years ago. You had a core that was being celebrated, a franchise that was being celebrated nationally not too long ago. I promise you there wasn't some secret meeting among the national media where they all said, hey, guys, that's enough with this Grizzlies thing. Let's start piling on and telling everybody it's crap. They're just reacting to what they're seeing over year, over year, over year. And it's an issue, sure.
It was one of those things yesterday, too, where when you are someone like John Morant, you are at the head of this thing, right? He has 17 points yesterday on 6 of 17. Going into the game, he has his new shoes, which are awesome.
Sure.
Like Nike used their swoosh as the J.
If you want to look for the positive yesterday, my kids were really impressed with the Ja threes.
I don't want to talk about it in that because then people get in the week. They're like, oh, how dare you talk about the positive of Ja's new shoes? Who cares about Ja's new shoes?
Nice shoes?
But what I looked at it as was yet another reminder of the investment in Ja. Like that's a lot of money. Nike has put a lot of money into the continued belief that he is one of the stars of this league. He is one of the faces. Your kid wants his shoes. There will be a lot of kids who want that new pair of Ja threes.
We were at the Mall of America this weekend. There's a lid store in there because every store is in there. And my middle guy wants to go in and he sees a nice Grizzlies hat and he wants to get that. And they've got this little machine where they can stitch the actual autograph. They have replications of replicas of everybody. Juan Soto, Francesco Lindor, LeBron James, and they can sort of stitch it into the side of the hat for an extra $15. And so they, hey, you want to stitch somebody's autograph in the side of the hat? And my kids still to this day are, yes, put Ja's 12. Let's do that one.
Yeah.
No, he's still the star. But,
and I was at a wedding 2 weekends ago, and the number of people who were wearing Ja's, men and women, there were bridesmaids in Ja's.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is, but you can't put a statistical price, for lack of a better term, on influence, and Ja has a hell of a lot of it. But it did strike me reading the Yahoo newsletter this morning. It was 4 generations who runs the league, and coming out of the first weekend of the playoffs and talking about the old guys of LeBron James, Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, the getting old guys of Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard, Rudy Gobert, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic, the new guys of Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Luka Doncic, and then the next guys, so draft class 2020 to 2024, of Tyrese Halliburton, Evan Mobley, Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham, and Paolo Banchero.
That's right.
Ja doesn't make these lists anymore.
That's right.
And
that's noticeable, and I trust he notices it.
Yes.
Maybe not that specifically, but he has to be aware that he's not a part of the conversations he used to be a part of.
Yes.
He is still a part of every highlight conversation. He'll deliver those, and he's an amazing basketball player.
He's had an incredible 2-month
when he's healthy, he's
basketball.
awesome. Let's not ever get away from that. When he's healthy and available to play, I would argue there's nobody more exciting. I would genuinely argue that. I don't think there's anybody I like watching be awesome at basketball more than I like watching Ja be awesome.
He's my favorite player to watch.
I think that's true.
And not just because I live in Memphis.
I think that's also true.
I mean, I'm sure it helps that I live in Memphis.
Probably, but...
And we see him more too, right? Because sometimes when you're only seeing the nationally televised games, you miss the that game against the Heat wasn't on national TV, was
but
it? I mean, you get what I'm saying.
Obviously, look at where we are. We're
Yes.
clocer to it.
I watch every single game.
There you go. We're closer to it. But he is genuinely a star that kids are attracted to, that fans are attracted to. I'll just circle right back to that lid store. All right, we're in Minneapolis, Minnesota. They don't have a jersey for sale in that little shop. I mean, it's a shop no bigger than this room, really.
Yes.
They don't have every NBA player's jersey in there. They don't have a player from every team in there. They don't have every Timberwolf in there. I saw 3 different Ja Morant jerseys for sale in this store in Minneapolis. 3 different Ja Morant jerseys. So he's a different deal.
And I want to see Ja Morant surrounded by a team that allows for something similar to what we saw from Anthony Edwards this weekend. Anthony Edwards is an exciting player.
Yes.
He's a great player. He's also now been put in the middle of a team that's constructed in a way where you do get a game 1 win.
Right.
You have a Jaden McDaniels.
Right.
When everyone's putting all the attention on Anthony Edwards, there is a Jaden McDaniels there who can make big shots. There's a Naz Reid who's hitting threes off the bench. Like, we've seen this Timberwolves team grow to the place where they get an upset game 1 win.
I'd like to see Ja Morant because it's great to compare like a player to another player on a winning team. They lost by 51. I would like to see Ja be Banchero. I would like to see Ja be Giannis. 2 players who were overmatched and 2 players whose teams were overmatched in their game 1 game this weekend who said, you know what, F it. Let's just do stuff. And we might lose this, but damn it, I'm going to do everything I can to keep it from getting embarrassing. Giannis is just putting his head down, running as fast as he can towards the rim, and whatever happens, happens, as the Bucks offered him no support at all, but they still found a way to not lose in that fashion. They got blown out. Both those teams got blown out. Blowouts are going to happen when you're outmanned and outmatched. That's not fine. That's not ideal, but I understand that. Losing by 51 is a lack of heart, and somebody's got to have the heart. And if Ja Morant is going to be one of the faces of the league, if Ja Morant is going to expect to be, or fans of Ja Morant are going to expect him to make these types of lists, then he's got to do something to stop his team from losing by 51 points.
Nothing's going to not make me sound like I'm making excuses in this situation, but I guess it's just a factual explainer. He is dealing with this ankle injury. And I get it. This time of year, everybody's dealing with something. But he is dealing with an ankle injury where we weren't even sure if he was getting injections in his ankle on Friday. And then less than 48 hours later, the Grizzlies have to play game 1.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying.
True. He is also dealing with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yes.
That's
He's also dealing with Lou Dort and the torture chamber.
Yeah.
And then it's Jason Wallace. And then it's Caruso.
I understand
and
CJ's point, though.
Yeah.
Like, you do want to... And this will be interesting to see how it plays out, because all the reporting from the locker room yesterday was like relaxed,
pretty positive.
And then the public press conferences, where Ja was like, we'll never play that bad again, and everything seemed calm and like, hey, we're fine. And I don't know how to interpret that exactly. My instincts are to be like, I don't like that at all. Right?
Yeah.
I like people throwing shit. Like I like people.
Oh yeah, my instincts when they have Jaren mic'd up in the middle of the game and he's talking to Zach Edey, I think it was, and saying, this is just game 1.
Yeah.
This is how this goes sometimes. Like I want to see people be mad, but you can't push emotions onto people.
That's
either.
right.
People handle things differently.
I'm not trying to tell you how they should respond to that. I've never been on a professional basketball team. I've barely been on an amateur basketball team. I don't know what it's like to lose by 51 on national television, all right? So I can't tell you how they should react. I can tell you the way I think I would react would to be embarrassed and mad and angry and yelling and throwing and embarrassed and hurt. And I didn't hear any of that. And so this will go one of 2 ways, or maybe one of 7 ways, who knows? But this is my point. If they bounce back on Tuesday and like they're competitive and they're in a game in the final 4 minutes and maybe they even steal one, then we will all point to, well, look, they didn't panic, and they'll point to it too. We didn't panic. It's a long series, and we tried to tell you. And that's why I'll stop short of like, I don't like how they acted yesterday. But that is not the way I think I would react in that moment. It's not the way I think a lot of teams would react in that moment. And I don't imagine it can get worse from 51. But if you follow up a 51-point loss with a 22 one, then you start to go, okay, you guys is everything still cool? Like, at what point is stuff not cool anymore?
Yeah.
Everybody keeps saying everything's fine. Whole season.
Well, then we'll turn to it's not a series until the home team loses.
Yeah,
and then we have to go into game 3.
I won't turn there. You can if you want to, but it won't be.
Listen, no, if they lose by...
It won't be. You can do whatever you want, but at 10 o'clock, you won't hear that phrase. I promise.
You won't hear that phrase here.
You won't hear it at 10 o'clock.
Ridiculously difficult game 3 to get excited for.
Yeah, I think it does matter. The difference between coming home 1-1 and coming down 0-2.
The difference between coming home 0-2 with a, let's be gracious, 80-point differential between the two games and coming
to me
now, unfortunately, no matter what, you're starting at 51. So
for me, 0-2 is 0-2. 0-2 to a team
they'd
that
say
is
0-1 is 0-1. It doesn't matter that they lost by 51.
I think if you come home somehow tied 1-1, that building will be on. I don't even know if you're allowed to say on fire anymore. I don't know what you're allowed to say.
He said coming back 1-1 would be a miracle.
Yeah, maybe.
And no, but it was something along the lines of like, that's a miracle, but I can't believe I'm going to make this joke. Well, things happened this morning that then changed the trajectory of it, but he was saying if you somehow come back 1-1 and then were to win game 3, that's a blessing from the Pope himself. And unfortunately, the Pope
I heard
passed
about
this
that
morning,
too.
R.I.P.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Not to be insensitive, R.I.P. to the Pope, but that's somebody who loves the game. That's somebody who loves ball.
He made it through Easter.
He survived. He's been on death's doors like, no, I'm gonna make it to the championship game of my religion, which is Easter. Served that whole Sunday and then said, all right, I'm done. I can retire.
He showed some real fight.
He did.
He showed some maybe we know some people who could learn something from the Pope.
But when we're not even just asking for miracles, we're asking for straight blessings.
Yeah, we need miracles and blessings.
All of the above.
Yeah.
And we're past thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
We're into the miracles and blessings
It's
category.
awesome to think about stealing one on the road and coming home and winning a game 3. That's
highly unlikely.
Like
the betting
wildly
markets
unlikely. Like here's what I believe. If you could somehow steal game 2 because crazy stuff happens in basketball sometimes, the game 3 on Thursday night will be as incredible as it's ever felt in that building.
Because you saw on Friday in this, like, the fans want it.
Yes.
Right? It's so, I'm not going to say it's easy to tap into, but it's natural to tap into.
Give people a reason to believe.
Yes.
If they want to believe, they will.
Yes.
If you can ever find a group of people who want to believe in something, you just give them any reason to, like literally any reason to, and they'll do it. That's like a story as old as time. Fan base here is exactly right now. The average Grizzlies fan has no belief in anything that has to do with anything right now, and I get it. But like just as Ja put it, all you got to do is win on Tuesday, and the series is tied 1-1, and you come back home Thursday. You will still be an underdog on Thursday. You'll still be a heavy underdog in the series, but it's very easy to, hey, we're tied and we're in a best of 5 now. We got home court advantage, and we just won the last game. You can at least get fired up for a night. You get smacked around again on Tuesday. It's hard to grab your growl towel with any sort of pride. It just is.
We get red panned on Saturday, so at least there's some significant halftime entertainment. I mean, one of the greatest of all time.
Sure.
Before we let you go, I can't let this pass. How was Kendrick Lamar and SZA? You went opening night of the tour in Minneapolis.
It was wonderful. Just a wonderful night. And not just because the show was great, although the show was great, like a real show. You've got 2 of the biggest artists in the world at the height of their careers on the stage together for 2+ hours. It was great had I been there by myself. It was great had I been there with my wife. To be able to do it with my little boys was just like awesome.
Yeah.
It's not the way we initially planned it. Like we have a handful of friends that we'll travel with and have similar interests as us, and they'll go do things like this with us. But you start asking people. It's hard to get people to break away on Easter weekend. It's hard, to get people. Other people got soccer games and baseball games, and then not everybody can just fly to Minneapolis for the weekend and do something like this. And so we ended up like. It was hard to find another couple to go. And I was like, why don't we just take the kids? This is they listen to edited versions of these songs every day. He is their favorite artist. Let's just go do that. And I'm so glad it turned out that way. It was sweet. It was awesome. We had the show amazing, but I promise you, I found myself watching my kids enjoy the show. They'd never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
They'd never been to a stadium concert before. Like the first thing was just like they're in a football stadium, and they play Madden and they watch the NFL. So it's like this is where Justin Jefferson plays. Like they were, and then Mustard did an opening set, which happened to be 20 yards in front of us. So like they've been screaming mustard for 5 months, and there was mustard right there. And like the whole thing was just, I spent as much time watching them as I did watching anything else, because those were the memories I wanted.
Did you have a favorite song?
Euphoria is my favorite always. Like Euphoria is my favorite song of last year. To me, it's the most meaningful one of the whole Drake Kendrick thing, and to see that live, he performed it at the Pop-Out show, did a verse, like a half a verse of it at the Super Bowl. But like last night or Saturday was the first time he'd ever, because he messed it up at the Pop-Out show, forgot a whole verse, had to circle back, and that Saturday night was the first time he'd ever performed it in full. And like that was, and the way the stage was built, he sort of walked out in the part of the stage that advances out into the crowd, to where like he wrapped half of Euphoria like, right there, like he's 15 yards right there. And the kids, that's just imagine if, I was born in the late 70s, and I was thinking about this, like if I were around Lou's age or like Oliver's age, this would have been the equivalent of seeing Prince or Michael Jackson in a stadium or something like that. They got to do that, and they had a blast.
You never forget it when you're, my first stadium show was NSYNC at Mile High Stadium at the peak of
my mom took me to
insane.
see Bon Jovi at the Coliseum. My dad took me to see Guns N' Roses at the Pyramid. Like those are big memories for me. Yeah. And like we were able to create this one for them.
And you got to see SZA too.
She was great.
52 song set list between the two of them.
Yeah, I will say there is a undeniable contrast between them, and it can be jarring. It's also beautiful in a way, but like when you go from Euphoria to like, and now here's SZA, it's just a very different energy in the building. The way it works is like Kendrick opens because he has to. It's his year, and then he does a few songs, and then she comes out, they do a song together, then he disappears, she does 5 songs, whatever, by herself, then he comes back, they do a song together, she disappears. It's that kind of thing, and the contrast between them, like just the energy in the room is wildly different. But the crowd,
on a 10 to chill.
It's very like the bouncing, and then it's just like, they just sort of swaying to SZA, and then it's like, and here comes DNA, and it's very different energy, but it was a cool experience.
All right, well, I hope we have a cool experience watching the Grizzlies tomorrow play the Oklahoma City Thunder, but you'll have your show coming up at 10 a.m. Woo-hoo! We'll take a quick break here. We'll come back. CJ and I both saw Sinners. I'm sure Gary only wants to talk about his concert experience from the weekend. I only want to talk about seeing Sinners.
I tried to go. I tried to take the whole family on. Could I have taken the whole family?
Yeah.
Okay, I suggested it, and it got shot down.
What's the ages?
8 and 11.
Sure.
There
are things that they won't get.
Right.
And you don't have to explain those things. You probably shouldn't take an 8-year-old.
We watched the trailer.
11, I think you can get away with.
We watched the trailer in the Uber, like from the airport to the hotel, and I was like, we could go do this tonight. And it got vetoed. It was just like, no.
I think that was probably a fair veto.
Even the kids were like kind of scared, uneasy about it. So we ended up at something called Can Wonderland. It was really neat. In like Minneapolis, some part, they turned a warehouse into like a big arcade, and you play a flat fee, like $16, and you're just in the whole night. And we just played games all night, and had drinks and played games. And, yeah, it was a good night. We missed Sinners, but I look forward to your review because I do plan to see it this week.
Seeing Sinners Easter weekend felt like a
appropriate
time to see it. But don't take your 8-year-old, and probably don't take your 11-year-old. Yeah.
I mean, we were at a Kendrick Lamar concert on Saturday night.
I had a nightmare.
If you can go see a certified boogeyman on a Saturday, I don't know why you can't go see Sinners on a Friday. But I'm not completely in charge of everything my kids do. My wife has a say as well, maybe the bigger say.
Were they eating on anything on stage at all?
I'm sorry?
Where the usher sometimes brings out cherries in the crowd.
I didn't see any cherries.
And no cherries.
Oh.
There's some ice cream licking going on in Sinners, Jessica.
No, there was no ice cream
There's
licking.
some ice cream licking, and there's some pretty strong horseback riding as well.
It's brief. It's brief. It's like a trot, okay? It's like a back and forth. And
I'm gonna see it this week.
Okay.
But I will see it.
You're going to come in and say, how dare you even flirt with the idea that my children could have seen this show?
I'm glad I did not take my children. I feel like we already probably pushed it a little too far this weekend, but I will see it this week, either by myself or with my wife.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll go around the rest of the NBA playoffs, talk a little Sinners spoiler free. We will not do any spoilers because I know a lot of people haven't seen it yet. That's all when we come back.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
There's nothing like playoff basketball.
Boy, nothing like playoff basketball in Memphis.
The atmosphere of a Grizzlies playoff game is super exciting.
Oh my God, it's absolutely electric. I love seeing the crowd out.
Everybody's just screaming their heads off. You feel like you're in a movie.
People are down here. Everyone's got on their Grizz gear.
The city's excited. Everybody's excited to watch. There's really nothing like it, and I really can't wait.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Tony was the defensive guy, but Zebo was the offensive guy. So you could speak to this. It's way worse when you're getting doubled, right?
I had went through that for it. When I was in Portland, me on the team, you got triple. You hear me, Rose? You can't talk about those. You got to talk about triple.
You got triple teams.
This man was scoring on 3 dudes.
Swing, TA.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I see people who look like me and were born probably in the same decade as me, watching all of these young people jump into the transfer portal and saying, it's ridiculous. You got to stop thinking about this like it's a normal college experience. It is not. You know what the priority is? Maximize your earning potential for every year of eligibility you have left. That's what this is about now. These are jobs.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Bucket.
Welcome back, where we are looking at the greatest highlights of Marvin Bad News Barnes. And if you're unfamiliar with his work, well,
everybody is.
It's time to go to your local Barnes & Noble or your local bookstore. Shout out Novel, my favorite local bookstore. We'll shop local here. And you can buy Bad News, The Turbulent Life of Marvin Barnes, pro basketball's original renegade.
Bucket. Look at that.
Give me some more. I love the Pocky Candy logo over these old highlights.
Look at that bucket. Rise up. Got to get a hand up if you're guarding Marvin Bad News Barnes.
They don't call him Marvin Bad News Barnes
Look at this.
for
Look at
nothing.
This. Transition. You don't want it. You don't want it from Marvin. There he is right there. That's where he likes
right
it.
over. Elevate.
Bucket.
Friendly bounce.
Can't nobody hold that, man.
Marvin Bad News Barnes enjoyed 2 highly successful years in the American Basketball Association.
2 of them?
With the Spirits of St. Louis, winning Rookie of the Year honors and twice being named an All-Star. But his career fizzled in the NBA as he wore out his welcome with the Detroit Pistons, Buffalo Braves, Boston Celtics, and San Diego Clippers in 4 years. His immaturity, as well as a chronic losing battle with drugs and alcohol, turned a potential superstar into a has-been by 1979. By then, his swagger was gone. So too was his game. This is Bad News, The Turbulent Life of Marvin Barnes.
Get ready, Senior Father's Day. That's your gift. I'm going to get him that book.
I'm going to give my dad it too.
I'm going to get him that book.
The nickname explains it all. Wow.
Marvin Bad News Barnes. Bet you didn't think you were getting Marvin Bad News Barnes highlights today.
You never know what you're going to get on this here show.
Bet you he never got beat by 51, because I bet you they never scored more than 51 points in the game.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah. Most likely. Other playoff action from the weekend around the NBA. I did settle in and watch the Warriors-Rockets game last night, which the Warriors won 95-85. Hey, I don't know if you know this, but the Golden State Warriors have this guy, Steph Curry, who hit shots like that. I swear to you, that shot by Steph is one of his best that I have ever seen. And it is the kind of shot that makes you say, what the hell is that shot? But then you realize it was taken by Steph Curry and you're like, oh, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. Of course Steph Curry is going to shoot that shot over Jalen Green. Of course Steph Curry is going to start yesterday's game 0 of 3 and then just make dumb 3 after dumb 3. And I mean dumb in the most complimentary way. It's like the Steph way of talking about a 3. He gets hot. Jimmy Butler gets hot. The two of them combine for 56 points in yesterday's game. The Warriors don't have a whole lot of scoring, consistent scoring, guaranteed scoring outside of those two, which could be a concern down the stretch. But all the conversation going into this was Amen Thompson was going to be the next great Steph stopper, and I did not see Steph get stopped. I did see a Warriors team that struggles against size, and I'm not sure what would have happened if Steven Adams had stayed in that game last night, because they pulled Steven Adams, and that's when the Warriors were able to really run away with it. They were up like 20, and the Rockets got right back into it. And the Warriors are small. Like, that's no big surprise. But having to figure out those lineups with Adams and Şengün were difficult for them. There was one possession where it was like 2 Steven Adams offensive rebounds, and then he set a big screen for, I think it was Fred VanVleet, who had a terrible game, but in that situation got him straight to the rim for an easy basket. But it was a fun game.
Yeah. Players are going to have bad games sometimes. But you can go out and say, okay, I can see the adjustments the Rockets may want to make in order to combat this Warriors team led by Steph and Jimmy. And the adjustment, you're right, Jessica, is as simple as, hey, we just got to be bigger than them. And we've got to tell our big guys, hey, go and feast on them. Go and take advantage of everything on them. The Grizzlies did it with Zach Edey. They lost the game, but Zach Edey had a monster rebound performance. Didn't he come away with like 7 offensive rebounds in that game, if I remember correctly? So we can get, even if our perimeter players are missing shots, we can get extra shots on goal just by having our big guy out there rebounding the ball. It's got to be that. And you just kind of say, okay, like, what the hell? It doesn't matter who we have on Steph. He's going to make those types of shots. Jimmy Butler had a monster game also. I'm not sure if it matters so much who we put on to Jimmy Butler, be it Brooks or Thompson, or you switch Brooks on to Curry and Thompson on to Butler.
I had Şengün on him for a bit.
Like, it doesn't matter. Let them do what they do. We just have to lean on being much bigger than they are on the inside, and we can just bully them out of the way. I look forward to seeing the adjustments in this series. This series, yeah, this is the series I will enjoy the most, seeing how the teams adjust, how the coaching staffs try and coach themselves out of unfavorable mismatches. Right. This is going to be good.
The Warriors' defense was excellent. And you look at, Jalen Green, 3 of 15, Fred VanVleet, 4 of 19. You have to assume they'll be better than that, but the Warriors made it so difficult. I did watch that game. Words that actually left my mouth last night, I was like, God, I wish the Grizzlies had someone like Tari Eason on their team. Like, that's where we're at. Tari Eason had this one, he just yanked the ball out of someone's hands, and then he had it was a 3-on-1 break for the Warriors, and Tari Eason came up with like a massive block, and just the hustle plays that get made. Like, he is by no means the signature, but they just have so much length, and guys like that who can come off the bench And every time I watch the Grizzlies, I just want something like that. Just anything like that. If you can't have Amen Thompson, if you can't have Dylan Brooks, and I know once upon a time he was there, like just a Tari Eason, just a Jabari Smith, maybe one of them, something like that. I don't know. Maybe that's asking too much. The other biggest upset of the weekend, because technically Warriors over Rockets, well, I don't think odds-wise it wasn't an upset, but seeding-wise it was an upset. The upset was the Timberwolves beating the Lakers. And I missed this game because that is when I went and saw Sinners, 8 p.m. at the Paradiso on Friday evening. But the Timberwolves won by 22, 117-95. And going back and watching the highlights and some of the breakdowns of this game, obviously the Jaden McDaniels experience, he had a massive game. But between him going for 25 points, 9 rebounds, Naz Reid off the bench, 23 points, he hit 6 threes. The Timberwolves as a team shot 50% from the three-point line, made 21 threes, and they were open. That was where when people would look at that Timberwolves matchup as a potential option for the Grizzlies, like, oh, maybe that's one that works well in the Grizzlies' favor. I was like, no. Between the length that they can throw at you defensively, and they have a lot of guys who can make threes and force you, even if you're cutting off option 1 or option 2, just, I don't want to call them randoms because Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid aren't random, but they're consistent three-point threats, and that's obviously something the Grizzlies have struggled with significantly. And for the Lakers, like, all the questions about their defense get shown in game 1, and size, lack of size being the biggest thing, and can Jackson Hayes do it? But you looked at a Luka performance in the first quarter where he's going lights off, but the second that he cools down, the Timberwolves are able to make that run late in the second quarter. They open the second half on an 11-0 run. Quick, it's a 22-point lead for them. So a stunning situation in Los Angeles for game 1.
They've got to figure it out defensively. Luka has this issue, and I thought he kind of turned the corner permanently, but I guess it was just for that playoff stretch. Luka was fine, and I say that in the most complimentary of ways last year on defense. Not great, not good, not average, but not a sieve, right? He wasn't just letting dudes go by him in that playoff run last year. And so if he can get back to that would help this team out tremendously. They do have a lack of size. The Warriors, Rockets, another one of those matchups where one team is significantly bigger than the other team. But I have to believe that after one game, J.J. Redick, who's done a really good job coaching this year, has the adjustments necessary and has the skill to motivate players that is necessary this time of the year to make the adjustments, and 2, motivate those dudes on the defensive side of the ball. Say, hey, we were right there. We could have won. Here are the defensive lapses here. We got to fly around more on the perimeter. We can't allow wide open threes off of 3-4 passes. We've got to always have somebody there. So Luka and others, like, fly around out there, sprint around out there, give yourself a chance to win this game. And I think that the Lakers will make the adjustments necessary. I look forward to seeing it.
The best game of the first 8 was definitively the Nuggets-Clippers game on Saturday afternoon.
I had a conversation with my in-laws about that. Listen, I understand. It was close. It was a competitive overtime game. Great. There's something about that physicality in that Pistons-Knicks series that just warms my cold, dead little heart. That was my favorite game to sit down and watch. I feel like I'm always, as somebody who doesn't have a dog in the race, I'm always rooting for a fight to pop off, and I feel like I'm going to get one in that Pistons-Knicks series. They are banging around out there, and I love it. But I understand that Nuggets game was good.
When it sets up a game 2 tonight where you're like, do you feel more confident in the Nuggets because they got the win? Not necessarily. Like, if I'm a Nuggets fan, I don't come out of that game feeling particularly great, other than the fact that you stole one, but you shouldn't be stealing one on your home court, and you would assume that the Clippers aren't going to turn it over 20 times again. But watching the end of that game was just the epitome of the Russell Westbrook experience. Like, Russ giveth, Russ taketh away, Russ giveth again, and so on and so forth. And it wasn't even a guarantee that Russell Westbrook was going to be a featured part of the rotation in that game. But they ultimately go to him because Michael Porter Jr. was playing so poorly. And so Russell Westbrook is in at the end of the game, and he gets that corner 3 opportunity. And at this point in his career, I don't want Russell Westbrook to take that shot, but he makes it. And it's a huge moment, and then Harden scores on the other end, comes back, and they're trying to get something going for either Murray or Jokic with tie game, 15-ish seconds left, and it ends up in the hands of Russell Westbrook, and you're like, oh, no. But you did just see him make this big three, so like maybe he takes it, and instead he starts to drive, and then he like talks himself out of it and goes back out, and by the end of it, he can't even get a shot up. And so you're like, there's Russ. And then you're in the overtime period, and who's the player who forces the game-sealing turnover? It's Russell Westbrook. And after the game, he said it was something that he knew. It was a play that he knew and was familiar with from his time in LA. But ultimately, now we could have a game where we don't see Russell Westbrook. Like, that's not a guaranteed going forward. But it was an entertaining, I'm not going to call it a subplot, a main plot that came out of the Nuggets win over the Clippers.
We talked about Westbrook after he got that steal and then blew the layup, and then fouled the three-point shooter. I forget, was that the Timberwolves game? I forget exactly when it was. And
because it was Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
It got clipped, and it clipped me saying Russ is going to lose you games. But right before I said that, I said Russ is going to win you games also. And that is the experience of Russell Westbrook. That dude is going to fight every second he's out there on the court. And it wasn't just the 3-point make and then the botched dribble on that last play where Aaron Gordon was kind of open underneath the basket, just throw it that way and let his athleticism take over. But it was the way that he got them extra possessions simply by wanting it more than the other 5 or 6 dudes around. Russell Westbrook is down there with all of the bigs and everybody from both teams, and he is clawing and fighting, and you're going to jump with me? Fine. I'm going to punch you in the face going for this ball, figuratively speaking. Right? Metaphorically speaking. He didn't punch anybody. He didn't elbow anybody. But he went up there with the explicit reasoning of coming down with that basketball and willing to fight for it. And that's what you want in your players this time of the year. And that's why, say whatever you want to about the dumb turnovers he has, his poor 3-point shooting percentage, say whatever you want to about that. That's all well and good. But if I'm in the trenches, I will take whatever that is over anybody else. We can fight our ways to a win no matter how poorly we shoot. We can't win games even if we're shooting the ball well if nobody has any fight. Because come late in that game when it's close, everybody gets tight and balls stop falling, and then what's going to happen? Then we're going to lose. Those shots stopped falling for the Nuggets. They ended up winning. Why? Because Westbrook had some fight in him and was doing whatever he could to get them extra possessions. That was a great game by Russ.
Yeah, that's how he ends up on the court. Yeah, and in that series overall, they're really going to struggle with Zubac. Nikola Jokic has to be like definitively
significantly better,
the greatest player in that series in order for the Nuggets to win. For me to feel confident in the Nuggets winning that series.
That's a dog. Westbrook is.
Oh, Westbrook.
Westbrook is. So
I'll call the entire Clippers team full of dogs.
On
the other side.
Maybe. Sure. Okay.
And I'll maybe give the Nuggets the sole dog of Westbrook.
And Jokic.
Yeah.
And Murray.
I wouldn't call Murray a dog.
And Aaron Gordon.
Oh, I would absolutely, thank you. Yeah. Aaron Gordon was great in that comeback from the Nuggets.
And listen, I think Christian Brown got some of that in him too.
Yeah, he had a couple plays down the stretch as well.
I think they've got this is going to be a good series.
Okay, so it's the series of dogs because then you have Kawhi, Harden, Zubac, Powell.
I'm not. No. Stop. Kawhi. Okay.
You're not giving Harden? Okay.
Why would I give Harden a dog? Somebody who's choked consistently when it's mattered the most. Dogs don't do that. No.
Sometimes dogs choke.
No.
Sometimes dogs get a little too. They eat too fast.
Yeah. Harden. I remember James Harden in Houston choking away series against the Warriors. No.
All right, you liked the Knicks-Pistons game.
I just like it because they bumping and grinding, man.
And they're also dogs. It's a doggy series.
They are. If I came away thinking, hey, yo, and I think this is where we were, not to bring it back to the Grizzlies, but this is where we were with them like 3 or 4 years ago, where it's like, holy hell, if they're this now.
Oh, with the Pistons.
And they're young with the Pistons. Yeah. And they're young, they're inexperienced. They don't have any of the scars or the wounds or the knowledge about what it takes to get over the hump. Mm-hmm. If they're like this now, what the hell is it going to be in a couple of years?
Yeah.
Like, that's how I left that game. Are we going to get to the point where the Celtics, because they've got things figured out from a roster standpoint, and the Lakers because they now have LeBron and Luka, and LeBron doesn't look like he's slowing down at all. Are we going to get to the point to where it's the 80s again, where the three teams that matter are the Pistons, Celtics, and Lakers? How crazy would that be? That's some good stuff. Pistons choked that away, but that comes with inexperience.
But also the vets of the Knicks.
Yes.
Brunson was great down the stretch. Karl Anthony Towns was great down the stretch. But yeah, it did look like from the Pistons side of things, a team that does not have the playoff experience. That's where that gets exposed in a way. Cade was 8 of 21, but he learns from that game, and that's kind of a terrifying thing too when you think of the growing nature of the Pistons. They got their best contributions in Game 1 were from their vets, from Malik Beasley, from Tim Hardaway. But you see the process developing in Detroit, and it is fun. Did you see Cade getting fed before the game?
I missed this entirely.
Okay, so as he's getting his pregame shots up, one of the members of the training staff is like feeding him fruit.
Like what type of fruit?
I don't know. I have questions that were not answered by the internet. I looked it up. I tried to find it on Reddit. But as you see, Cade shoots, and then he's being fed fruit.
Is that fruit or Jell-O?
I think it's fruit. I think it's a cup of fruit.
Okay.
But maybe it's Jell-O.
All right.
Are we just trying to get some sugar in us?
I guess so. Some of that good sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately replenishing every shot. You lose a little sweat, so you're just
a little treat. Like, oh, you made a shot. Here's a piece of watermelon.
Yeah. Do you get one if you miss it? I assume you don't get a treat.
Like, here's a strawberry. You made a shot. Here's you a kiwi. Okay.
So
good
many
shot.
questions about this. It was so weird. The other games from the weekend, the Bucks-Pacers game was ugly. And like CJ brought up earlier, Giannis tried his damnedest. But if you have been a person who has been the sole contributor of a group project, I feel like you commiserated with Giannis Antetokounmpo on Saturday because he had 36 points and 12 rebounds, and he was diving on the floor for loose balls, and he was trying to find his shots. And if you look at the rest of that starting lineup, they gave him close to nothing. Some of them gave him literally nothing. We are looking at you, Kyle Kuzma, who had 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks, was a minus 24 in 22 minutes of action. The most minutes by a starter in a playoff game without recording a stat ever for Kyle Kuzma. Nothing. Nada. 0. I'm not even going to say he was out there getting cardio. He got nothing.
Yeah, that's who we're looking for him,
Where
Jacob.
are ya?
I'm trying to find the dude who wanted to trade Bane for Kuzma.
I don't forget. I won't forget.
Kyle Kuzma was only minus 24. What was Bane's plus minus?
51.
Okay. All right. Well, never mind. Stay in the shadows.
Yeah, but does Kyle Kuzma also have the highest plus minus in playoff history? Because Desmond Bane does.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Listen, that whole Bucks team.
They're a mess. They're supposed to get Dame back in game 2.
I don't know what that matters. Why what?
I understand he's going to play because he's a competitor, and if he's able to play, he's going to play. Like, if I were Damian Lillard coming off of a deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot that could kill you, and I watch that game for game 1, I'm like, nah, I'm not risking my life for this.
Dame was out there trying to fight.
I'm not risking my life for this.
He wanted to fight, what's the light-skinned dude's name? One who likes the snow. Halliburton.
Tyrese Halliburton.
Halliburton.
Hey, I saw a really cute video of Tyrese Halliburton and his girlfriend.
His what girlfriend?
His white girlfriend.
Okay.
They should go see Sinners together.
Yeah. All right.
And have some conversations.
But at a certain point, Dame was like, yo, I'll beat your ass. I was like, wait, why?
But that was the thing, too. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton did nothing in the game.
Yeah, so why is Dame so upset all of a sudden? Oh, well, we'll see. I guess they make some adjustments. I don't know what adjustments you can make when the Pacers can throw true length out there to, like, stop whatever it is anybody other than Giannis is doing, right? So you'll put Siakam or you'll put Turner on him, and then you'll just have the other one floating about there, ready to get deflections, contest shots. Like, that's just a tough look. The Pacers played really good defense, and it frustrated the Bucks, and the only person who could do anything is Giannis, and Giannis is a lot of things. He's not a creator for others.
I think Giannis really likes the wings in Memphis.
Mm-hmm. Listen, hey. Hey,
I've offered the keys to the pyramid before, and I'm willing to do it again.
I know this.
Let's save
this is right on the line.
Sweet baby Greek freak.
Right on the line of the T word. Let's be careful.
Oh yeah, no. I was this is just me.
Just you.
It's me, Jessica, being like, I want to support Memphis tourism, right? And thinking that perhaps we might not get more than 2 playoff games. Like hopeful. Grizz in 6. As I said yesterday, SGA, A-Bay, Ponder replay, Grizz in 6. It's still up for grabs. But, if not, like you're not going to get as much economic boost. And so I'm trying to recruit others to come visit the great city of Memphis. And if I remember, I think once upon a time, Giannis had some wings here, and he's like, I love these wings in Memphis.
Listen, if maybe the wings are good enough for him to decide, I'd like to take up permanent residence.
Yeah, I hear housing prices.
That's what I hear.
Are some of the best. Shh, Jacob, shut up. There's plenty of other wing places, okay? We know no bounds with our wings in this city. I'm just things to think about as we move forward.
Neighbors with some people. Be neighbors with like a Ja or Jaren or Dick.
No, that's too much. You don't want to be too close. Like that's a lot of.
I'm not saying
imagine the neighborhood pickup games would be out of control.
I'm not saying they'd be co-workers or anything like that, but they could be like neighbors. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, and just floating it out there. Cavs beat the Heat. As mentioned, would have loved for the Grizzlies game against the Thunder to look like the Heat's game against the Cavs. Cavs were great, but the Heat at least put up a fight. Tyler Hero, 21 points on 7 of 18 shooting. He was 3 of 6 from 3. Bam had a nice game, 24 and 9. I could see the Heat stealing a game. I have more belief in the Heat winning a game over the Cavs coming out of weekend 1 than I do in the Grizzlies getting a win against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then the other game, the Celtics beat the Magic, and I could also see the Magic winning a game in that series. The biggest thing for Boston was Jason Tatum went down with that wrist injury, and they called it was a pretty weak flagrant that they called on that play. But alas, he got x-rays on the wrist, and apparently everything's okay. So that's big for the Celtics going forward. We have about 10 minutes left in this here Monday show. Let's talk about Sinners, because CJ and I both went to see Sinners this weekend, and CJ texted me on Friday after he went and saw Sinners, and he said, cancel all your plans, call out sick from work. At that point, we had the Grizzlies-Mavs game coming up that evening. You have to go see this movie immediately. And so I knew that I wanted to see Sinners opening weekend because I didn't want anything to be spoiled for me, and we will not be doing any spoilers here because I know not everybody can get themselves to a movie theater, but I texted Chris and I was like, we have to go see Sinners tomorrow. He's like, I forgot, I have a tea time. I was like, oh my God, being married to a man is so difficult. So, a tea time with your buddies. You got to go out on the golf course on a beautiful spring day in Memphis and hit the links, hit them long and far and everything. Anyway, I was happy that he was going out, and I was kind of jealous because I wanted to go play golf because it was a beautiful day, but I needed a break in between Friday's games and Sunday's games. So I said, let's go. There's an 8 o'clock showing at the Paradiso, and we'll just miss the evening NBA games and go to this movie because I really want to see this movie opening weekend. And it did not disappoint one bit. The word of mouth on Sinners over the last few days has been unlike anything I have seen in recent memory for a movie. Like just people talking like, hey, you got to go see this movie. Because I'm not talking about pre-excitement for a movie, pre-hype. We get pre-hype with a Wicked. We get pre-hype with a Barbie. But I cannot remember the last time I heard from so many people saying, hey, you have to go see this movie. Can you?
Black Panther.
Okay.
Black Panther was that where, all right, the Marvel people knew to go see it, and then word of mouth, it became a cultural sort of thing. Oddly enough, Michael B. Jordan was in that one, and Ryan Coogler was the director.
Ryan Coogler is an absolute genius. And I was thinking yesterday from the standpoint of like greatest duos to ever come out of the University of Southern California. And like, I think you could make a case for Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart, probably. Maybe the most successful duo that we've ever seen. I would usurp that with Ryan Coogler and Ludwig Göransson. 2 proud graduates of the University of Southern California. But the work that those two have put in together with Ludwig as the composer and responsible for the music in Sinners, and then Ryan Coogler for the ultimate creation of Sinners. It's remarkable. It is the best experience that I've had in a movie theater in a long time. The audience was wildly into it. Audience participation is fun in a horror movie in general. Like, you hear the gasps, you have the, oh no, don't do that, and everything in between, the clapping that happens at various points within this movie. But you see an opening weekend that supports CJ loving this movie, me loving this movie, everybody loving this movie. It's number one at the domestic box office with 45.6 million people going to see it opening weekend. Largest opening weekend audience for a movie post-COVID. Biggest domestic opening of the last decade. It has incredible ratings, 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 4.3 on Letterboxd at this point. And it lives up to all the hype. Like, it's very rare for a movie to exceed the hype that I saw growing for Sinners in the last week. And yet I will sit here and 100% say you have to go see this movie in theaters.
And it exceeds the hype, and you have to go see it because it is a movie lost in the scary movie elements of it. It's a movie about American culture. All right, there's a moment where there's I call it a cultural cacophony of stuff happening. And you're just looking around and it's, oh, this is how this directly leads to this and that leads directly to that. Not just in black culture, but Asian American culture as well, all over America, right? And I can see how this, and it's a music thing. We've talked about music before. I can see how gospel lends itself to blues, to folk, to hip hop, rap, R&B. I can see how all of that lends itself to this happening. Rock and roll, I can see how this goes from here and branches out to there, but then I can see how the things that happen culturally in our past has led to this moment right here. And it's a beautiful blend of past, present, and future from the movie standpoint. Takes place in the 30s. And it was just one of the coolest things to see. And it was shot so beautifully. It was done so well. The music was so great. That is like, oh man. And that's just one scene. That's just one. That's just one scene.
That scene will go down as one of the greatest scenes in cinematic history. I felt like I was levitating watching that scene. Like, the movie is good leading up to this scene. And again, no spoilers, but like when you see the scene, you will know. Just like I was told by multiple people, hey, there's going to be this scene and I need your reaction to what you thought of this scene. And listen, damn it, this is a multi-genre movie. I am willing to throw the term musical, not from a scary way because people get really weirded out by the word musical, but it's a horror movie, it's a drama, it's a comedy at times, it's a musical, it's a dance movie at times. It blends everything so perfectly, but this one scene is just, it's stunning. And every element of this movie was elite, from the score, and there's a moment where the score, like, someone lights a match, and as simple as lighting a match, measures up with the beat perfectly in the score. And I was like, oh my God, like music nerding out. The music supervision, the song choices that were used. There's like an Irish jig in it that is a catchy little bop.
When the songs get played also. Because it's not just that they are, and this is where I think you get at it being part musical or a musical. It's these songs aren't just thrown in there for no reason.
No.
The songs have a point. They push the story forward. So when Stack and his cousin and the piano player are riding past the chain gang and the song gets played, like, there's a reason to it. There's a really heartfelt story that's getting shared, and it's like, hey, this is what the blues is about. Play it. This is how we cope with being black in the 30s in the South. Play that shit for me. And they play it, and it takes their mind off of the really bad story that they just heard. It's incredible. It's great. It's a period piece as well. Yeah. So it's a good movie.
There's
man.
a mid-credit scene that you cannot miss. Do not leave. There's also a post-credit scene with another song that you cannot miss. Like, stay for the entirety of the whole thing. But the camera work is beautiful. The cinematography is beautiful. The acting is great. I could have used 6 Michael B. Jordans, but I'll take 2 of them in one movie because he does play twins and he plays them very well. Miles Catton is a star, the young man who plays Sammy, who has an incredible voice. Like, sometimes you fall into a difficult situation where you do have so much music and you're supposed to believe that this person is like a transcending star in the making. But you don't have to fool yourself in this because he is. Like, he's so wildly talented. All of the women portrayed in this movie, there is a level of supporting women, respecting women. I view Ryan Coogler as a director who really respects women. He works with his wife, and you can feel like the care that goes into writing every single female character in this movie. Delroy Lindo should win Best Supporting Actor. I will already say it right here, right now, for playing Delta Slim. He's incredible. The whole thing is so good. It's just, I can't wait. We'll talk about it more in depth. The costumes.
We hadn't even gotten, so Theater Thursday, we're going to talk about this some more so we can get into the themes.
Yeah.
All right.
All the themes, the messaging. All right, we got to go. It's a Monday. Gary Parrish Show up next. We will be back tomorrow. It will be a Grizzlies game day. We'll see you then. Have a great rest of your Monday, everyone. Bye.
So I know which themes are we going to hit on.
Oh, I don't know. Do we want to do colonialism, religion, capitalism, freedom, artistry? What else we got? Vampires.